what's going on? The Urbs or the Burbs is what we're talking about. Living in the suburbs or living in the urban areas in the New Haven area. Now, it's this is very subjective. In Connecticut, it's hard to differentiate the suburbs and the city life, but we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about the pros and the cons of living in these different sections and help you decide where it is that you want to live. So, stay tuned. We'll be right back. I'm Gerard Gibson with the Gibson team at Coldwell Banker, and I help a lot of first-time home buyers purchase their first home. I help a lot of sellers upgrade into new homes and sell their properties. So if you are interested in purchasing your first home, please give me a call, shoot me a DM. All my contact information should be in the description below. I hope it is. I gotta put it on the screen. I'm trying a new system out, so I'm still kind of working out the kinks, but we'll figure it out. Listen, I'm reachable. I'm everywhere. Follow me on social media at Gerard Gibson, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. My contact information should be in my description. But anyways, we're going to talk about the pros and the cons of urban living in New Haven. The Urbs or the Burbs. All right. So I get a lot of people that want to move out of the city, that don't want to be, within the city limits. They want to move outside into different towns, neighboring towns. And we're going to talk about the pros and cons of all of that stuff. So let's dive into the pros. The pros of urban living. All right. So the first thing is convenience and accessibility. Yes, being in proximity to amenities like restaurants, shops, entertainment, and access to public transportation. So, of course, the amenities I get, but this isn't 1990. I mean, there's amenities everywhere. I mean, what do you want? Gyms? There's gyms everywhere. Hamden has about 4 gyms in the plaza right now. What amenities are important to you? And public transportation. Okay, definitely living in the urban areas, you're going to have access to the public transportation. I had a client that lived in Brooklyn, and she was relocating here, obviously because you get more bang for your money here in Connecticut. So she's relocating here from Brooklyn, and she's used to hopping on a train. She's at almost at retirement age, right? She's an older lady, and she never had a driver's license, and she never had a car. And she lived in Brooklyn all her life. She works in Brooklyn. She was going to continue to work in Brooklyn, and in her mind, she wanted to be able to hop on public transportation, get on the Metro North, and go to Grand Central Station. And so she wanted me to find her a house that was close to the train station. And I'm like, all right, there's a few places we could go. You can go New Haven, West Haven, Metro North, runs up the I-95 corridor. Or if you needed to move to Ansonia or out in the valley, the train comes out there as well. But, and then it also became, how far away from, the city it was. But I told her, I'm like, well, listen, we have city buses. We do have city buses. We don't have a lot of enough city buses to compensate for the amount of, trains and city buses that you may have, in New York City. But we do have city buses, but also we got rideshare, we got Lyft, we got Uber. Like I haven't caught a bus in a while. So I don't even know how much it is to ride the bus. But with rideshare, is public transportation still a big factor. Comment in the chat below. Comment below. Is public transportation still a big factor when you have Uber and Lyft and all these other things? We have Yellow Cab, which our Yellow Cab, I believe, switched over to a mobile app ride share situation, just like Uber and Lyft as well. So, with those things, is public transportation still a must-have? But you definitely get the benefit of having some public transportation, living in the urban areas. All right, so vibrant culture and social life, diverse community with cultural events and nightlife, opportunities for social interactions and networking. Okay, definitely. It's definitely going to be a thing in the city. There's definitely a lot more people, a lot more things going on. As far as that, downtown New Haven is not what it used to be. When I was a young whippersnapper going to downtown New Haven, it is not what it used to be, but it's different and it's still a vibe. So I would definitely say that there's a lot of different venues down there, restaurants. You got the cigar lounge, you got different bars. Now it's like the bar and the restaurant thing, combined. It's kind of the vibe. Like there's not a lot of real just like nightclubs, just straight dance clubs. Like it's like a restaurant with a DJ, and we're gonna move the tables out the way and turn it. That's the wave right now. Everybody's doing that. But anyways, yes, you do have a lot more options in an urban setting. Economic opportunities, job opportunities, especially in the sectors like education, healthcare, and technology. Higher potential for rental income if you're interested in investing, for sure. In the urban areas, to me, that one of the main differences of urban and suburban living is the amount of people. So if you got a lot of people in the urban areas, there's going to be a lot of different housing, or the need for a lot of different housing, which is going to make it very lucrative for you to, invest in those areas. Definitely high demand for housing. Job opportunities. Obviously in New Haven, we have Yale, which has two campuses, the St. Raphael's campus and the main campus. So there's going to be a lot of jobs, schools. New Haven's got tons of different school options, from public schools, magnet schools to private schools. So you definitely have those options there. Along with, there is one, two, three. There's three colleges. We got Yale, you got UNH, you got Alberta's Magnus, and you got Southern Connecticut. Now, all of these colleges kind of border the other towns, like Alberta's and Southern kind of border Hamden. UNH is practically in West Haven. University of New Haven is in West Haven. I don't know who did that, but so, you definitely have a lot of educational, a lot of education options living in the urban areas, for sure. And all of those things bring jobs as well. You got to work at. There's people got to work at the colleges. There's people got to work in the hospitals. Technology. I can tell you, we have Amazon both north and south of us here in New Haven. So you got Amazon in North Haven. You also have Amazon in Orange, along with some other companies. I want to do another video, and we're going to talk about some of the companies, some of the big companies that are moving here to New Haven, to the New Haven area, and also in Connecticut. But yeah, so definitely jobs and different opportunities you'll definitely find more of those in our urban areas. All right. So now let's talk about the cons of living in an urban area. There's a lot of cons. The cost of living, higher housing costs, and property taxes, higher overall expenses from dining and parking. I mean, okay, higher housing costs. It's definitely more expensive to rent in New Haven right now, for sure. It's definitely more expensive to rent in New Haven right now for sure. Housing costs is up everywhere. It's up. It's up in the suburbs. It's up uh, in the city. Uh, Taxes. East Haven and Meriden and Branford. Okay, everybody's taxes are lower than Hamden, New Haven, and West Haven. Let's just keep it a buck. Moving out to those areas, if you consider those areas suburbs, um, is the cost of living cheaper? The taxes are definitely lower, but the cost of the house, right? The purchase price, the home values are higher in those areas. So I don't know um, if the cost is actually cheaper moving out there. So, you got to kind of weigh the options. I mean, depending on exactly, what it is that you want. But overall expenses, dining, parking, okay. Yeah, in the city, you're going to pay for some parking. But for the most part, it's not that bad, especially when you get downtown. You get downtown and you get by the hospitals, you're probably going to pay for some parking. But other than that, parking's really not an issue. Another con is noise and crowdedness, higher noise levels and more traffic, less privacy and smaller living spaces. Okay, that's definitely real. Um, Higher noise levels, obviously. I tell you what, Fairhaven. I used to live in Fairhaven. I used to live on Grand Avenue. Fairhaven, they do not sleep. Fairhaven is buzzing till 5 o'clock in the morning. It might shut down between 5 and 7, and then they're right back up. So, so I used to live right on Grand Avenue, and Grand Avenue never sleeps. So, that's definitely an urban area. It's definitely higher population out there. So I get it. Less privacy in urban areas. Everybody's elbow to elbow, right? Even in some of our quieter areas, in within the city, you're still elbow to elbow. Um, Smaller living spaces, yes, you're going to be elbow to elbow in the city for sure, for sure. Um, Safety concerns. Listen, I've traveled around the country. I used to drive trucks, and I've been into different towns. And to me, I'm like every place is the same, right? Every city has or town has this a good neighborhood and or what you could consider a bad neighborhood. No crime, more crime. Less crime, more crime. And it's like you could be driving down the street, you could be in a nice neighborhood, and you go, two lights, and things just kind of change over. I was actually, where was I? I was in Hartford this weekend, and I came in, it's like somewhere West Hartford. I can't remember the name of the street. But I'm driving through this neighborhood, and I'm like, these houses are nice. And then, I went a block, and then it's like abandoned buildings, and I'm like, what just happened? Like, you know what I mean? But, and I don't know if there was crime in there, but I'm just saying that there's towns like that everywhere. Wherever you have a lot of people, you're going to have some crime. You know what I mean? In the urban area. So I mean that's definitely a con, and you want to try to do some research on the areas that you plan on moving in, for sure. Let's be safe. All right. Now let's go to the burbs. We just did the urban areas. Now we're going to do the pros and cons of living in the suburbs, of suburb living. All right. So we're going to start with the pros. Space and privacy. Obviously, we just talked about that. So in the suburbs, you're going to have a little bit more space. You're going to have larger homes with yards, more privacy, and quieter neighborhoods, for sure. My dad said, when the green grass grows, somebody got to cut the lawn, so you're going to have more space, but you're also going to have to cut that grass. You know what I mean? I had a client, I was a married couple. There was a couple that wanted to live we were in Hamden, so I'm showing them houses out in the 1-8, and nice raised ranch, finished basement. It was a nice house. They loved the house, and we're talking about numbers and options and this, that, and the third, getting ready to put in the offer. And the little daughter was looking, had a deck on the back, out through the kitchen, sliding doors onto the deck. So the little girl's looking out on the deck, and while we're talking numbers, she goes, "Mommy, there's a deer." And she said, "A what?" "A deer. A reindeer." The little girl was all happy, and mom's like, "Yep, nope, we're not living out here. I'm not." She's like, "I'm not buying a house with no reindeer." I'm like, "Listen, like you wanted to move out of the city into the country. You wanted the big backyard. This house got everything you want, and you just gotta." Make sure you feed your neighbors back there. You know what I mean? Like and the deer was like probably the least alarming thing that was probably going to be coming through that backyard. There's been bear sightings, coyote sightings, whatever. But you gotta, living in the suburbs, those are things that you gotta consider. You know what I mean? I want to be, in the woods. Also, living in a setting like that in the suburbs, there might not be public utilities, meaning there might not be public water. There might not be public sewer. So now you're going to have to, deal with well water and a septic system. You know what I mean? So that's a con for living in the burbs as well. So let's move on to the next one. Community and family-oriented, family-friendly communities with good schools and parks and opportunities for outdoor activities and sports. I mean, listen, around here, I don't think we have those problems. I think all of our towns have lots of sports, lots of activities. I think we do a good job up here in Connecticut and the New Haven area with activities, extracurricular activities, sports, youth sports, all of those things. So I don't think, you're going to have a big deal there. Family oriented, I think you'll find that family, that vibe, that feel either way. I think it all depends on, exactly, who you're moving around, but all of the towns around here I know is definitely a family vibe, and that's definitely a pro. But I think it goes either way, whether it's urban or suburban, and the Urbs or the Burbs. Lower cost of living, more affordable housing options, lower property taxes, and overall living expenses. Okay, I think in this case, listen, you really gonna have to specify, where the suburbs are around here. If you're gonna say lower housing costs, lower living expenses, and definitely Meriden's taxes are lower. You probably get more money, more bang for your buck in Meriden. Out East Haven and the shoreline, the taxes tend to be a little bit lower, but also, the price to get in, the home values are a little bit higher. So I think that statement was a little subjective, but definitely Meriden, definitely Meriden, maybe Wallingford, but and I said that to say it's usually the opposite. I think it's more expensive to live in the suburbs, on the outskirts of the city than it is to live in the city. All right, let's go over some cons. What are the cons of living in the burbs? Commute and accessibility. Longer commutes to work and amenities, and limited access to public transportation. Yes, we kind of touched on this earlier. The longer commutes, you tell me how you feel about the longer commute. What if you had to commute 45 minutes to go to work? If you had to commute 45 minutes, listen, we in Connecticut. It only take an hour to get to either end of the state, right? Especially if you're in New Haven. I can get to the next state no matter which way I go. I can get to Rhode Island. I could get to Massachusetts. I could get to New York in an hour's time, right? So if you had to commute 45 minutes to work, is that a thing? Is that a problem? Is that a pro or a con? Comment below if you had to commute 45 minutes to work, 45 minutes to an hour to work. Would that be a problem for you? Comment in the chat below, please. But and also even with the like we talked about with the rideshare stuff, limited access to public transportation. I don't even know if that's an issue. I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. I don't know. I guess everybody's different. I probably shouldn't say that. There probably are some people that rely on public transportation, but if I had to, let's say it was too expensive to live in New Haven. It's too expensive to live in the city. And in order for me to live comfortably, I had to get out of there. Is public transportation a thing? I guess maybe not for me. Maybe it would be for somebody else. So I'm gonna I'm gonna retract that last statement. But comment in the chat below. Do you still rely on public transportation? Do you need public transportation? Where you live at? Let's talk about it. Limited social and cultural activities, fewer entertainment and dining options, less vibrant nightlife and cultural events. Yes, definitely in the burbs. There's not going to be as many options, but let me tell you, some of the best restaurants, some of the best bars, some of the best nightlife options, entertainment options are in these smaller towns. I promise you. I'm gonna do another video at some point, and we're gonna highlight some of those things. But don't sleep on the nightlife and social activities that go on in some of these smaller towns. But yeah, definitely New Haven's gonna be loaded. The city's gonna be loaded on those for sure. For sure. Potential for isolation and less social interacting and networking. Yeah, listen, if I move to the burbs, you're gonna call before you come. We definitely isolating by moving to the burbs. But some people want that. Do you want to be isolated? Comment in the chat below if you want to be isolated and move to the burbs. Networking opportunities. Yeah, okay. Do you want to be isolated and move to the burbs? What's your choice? Do you want to move to the burbs, or would you much rather be in an urban, more city-like environment? Comment in the chat below. All right. So that's my take on, urban living versus suburban living, urban living versus suburban living, and the Urbs are the burbs. And I mean, and that's my take. Like right now, I kind of live in a city environment, in a city setting, urban setting, and I kind of like my urban setting. Like, it's a nice neighborhood, but we are kind of close together. My wife is like, listen, she wants to move to the country. I want an acre. Listen, but you don't cut grass like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm lying. She does cut the grass. She actually loves cutting grass, and she does good at it, fellas. She does good at it, fellas. But still, if we had an acre, that's more maintenance. That's more work to do. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't know how I feel about it, but I do like the isolation thing. I'm an introverted homebody. I'm an introverted homebody, so it's like, call before you come. That is my vibe all day. So those are my pros and my cons of living in the burbs. Comment in the chat below. Urbs are the burbs for you, and tell me why. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Sorry about that. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I'm gonna try to do more of these lives. I'm gonna try to go live every night if I could. I'm gonna try if I could. I gotta make it happen. I just gotta make it happen. I love doing these lives. I just upgraded my camera quality, my microphone, and all of that. I'm ready. I'm ready to go live. I'm ready to teach y'all some real estate stuff. If you need help purchasing your first home, or if you need help selling your home and purchasing your second home, give me a call. Here, Gerard Gibson with the Gibson team at Coldwell Banker. Shout out to all of my agents on the team. I got some agents that are hungry and they're working hard, and we are going to continue to thrive and be great at what we do. So If you would like our help, please feel free to reach out. Please feel free to reach out. I'm at Gerard Gibson, Gerard, Gibson on all the social platforms. I got to get a bumper with my contact information up there. That's the one thing I forgot to do. That's the one thing I forgot.